Good afternoon. This is All India Radio and I am Valsa Williams with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leaves for Tokyo to attend 13th India-Japan Annual Summit, says his visit will consolidate partnership for a better and more prosperous future. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat says India is strong enough to respond if Islamabad continues with its plans against New Delhi. IRS officer Sanjay Kumar Mishra appointed as Chief of Enforcement Directorate. Political turmoil continues in Sri Lanka following appointment of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa as new Prime Minister. In cricket, India win the toss, opt to bowl against West Indies in the third ODI at Pune, and Indian men's hockey team to take on Japan in the semi-finals of Asian Champions Trophy at Oman tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today embarked on a 3-day visit to Japan. During his stay, Mr. Modi will attend the 13th India-Japan Annual Summit with his counterpart, Mr. Shinzo Abe. This will be the 5th annual summit meeting between Mr. Modi and Mr. Abe and their 12th meeting overall. Under the framework of the special strategic and global partnership between India and Japan, the two leaders will have wide-ranging discussions on bilateral, regional and global issues of mutual interest. Our correspondent covering the Prime Minister's visit has filed this report.
The annual bilateral summit between India and Japan is the only other summit of its kind after the other with Russia. The frequency of interactions between the heads of governments of both the nations, ministerial and official level meetings, and the growing people-to-people contact testify to the growing warmth between the two major democratic and economic powerhouses of Asia. During his visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to have extensive talks with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan, covering a wide spectrum of areas for cooperation. They include trade and investment, healthcare, digital technologies, agriculture and food processing, disaster risk reduction and disaster resilient infrastructure. He would also interact with captains of industry from both countries, besides meeting the diaspora in the Japanese capital. Prime Minister Modi's current visit is expected to elevate bilateral ties to even newer heights. Jai Singh, AR News, Tokyo.
Apart from attending the summit, Mr. Modi will visit the robotics and automation firm Fanuc in Yamanashi and meet business leaders. He will be showcasing India as an attractive investment destination to the Japanese investors and address a Make in India event in Tokyo. The Prime Minister will participate in a community reception to be attended by the Indian diaspora in Japan. In a statement ahead of his departure, Mr. Modi said his visit will promote the traditional friendship that is deeply rooted in history and consolidate the partnership for a better and more prosperous future. He said the bilateral relations rest on the strong pillars of India's Act East policy and the shared vision and commitment to a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. The Prime Minister said his interactions will help further strengthen trade and investment ties and cooperation in new areas such as healthcare, digital technologies, agriculture and food processing, disaster risk reduction and disaster resilient infrastructure. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat today said if Pakistan continues with its plans against India, the Indian Army has options to respond and it will. General Rawat said this while flagging off the Infantry Day celebrations in New Delhi. The Army Chief said,
पाकिस्तान की तरफ से घुसपैठ लगातार जारी है। आतंकवादियों के जो कैंप हैं उन पर लगातार उन्हें ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है। हमारी कार्रवाई ये है कि हम तो संदेश सिर्फ पाकिस्तान को ये देना चाहते हैं कि इससे नुकसान आपको पहुंचेगा। हम तो घुसपैठ रोकने में काबिल हैं। जो आतंकवाद हमारे देश में घुसपैठ कर लेता है हम उसको अंदर खत्म कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर इस तरह का माहौल बना रहा और इस तरह का सहयोग घुसपैठियों को देते रहे तो हमारे पास अन्य कार्रवाई करने के भी हमारे पास सहूलियत है, कर भी सकते हैं।
General Rawat also said stone pelters are nothing but overground workers of terrorists. He said the army has registered an FIR against stone pelters after a soldier was killed recently. A Central Industrial Security Force CISF official has been killed in a terror attack on the outskirts of Srinagar. Officials said unidentified terrorists attacked a CISF guard post at Power Grid Station at Wagura Naogam last night. The official said an assistant sub-inspector of CISF sustained critical injuries in the attack. He later succumbed to his injuries at a hospital. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack so far. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today said former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee created an ideological pole in Indian polity. Mr. Jaitley was speaking at India Ideas Conclave 2018 in New Delhi. Delivering the first Atal Bihari Memorial Lecture, the minister said there is a need to keep the spirit of democracy alive. He stressed those who believe in dynastic politics never believe in a vibrant democracy.
The BJP in its revived form under Atalji became the center stage player of Indian politics. And in election after election, the polarization was no longer Congress or anti-Congress. We had replaced Congress as the center stage party of Indian politics. They may have come to power once or twice thereafter on the strength of alliances. And for the first time, since the subject today is democracy, Indian democracy, because of two political parties as national parties, became a viable parliamentary democracy.
Union Home Minister and senior BJP leader Rajnath Singh today called upon Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha BJYM workers to act as socio-political crusaders to transform India into a world leader. He was addressing the two-day BJYM National Conference in Hyderabad. Mr. Singh said,
भारत की ताकत है तो भारतीयता में भारत की ताकत है, उसकी राष्ट्रीयता में भारत की ताकत है और सांस्कृतिक एकजुटता में भारत की ताकत है। इस मंत्र को जिंदगी भर याद रखना और वह जितनी मजबूत होती चली जाएगी, मेरे बहनों भाइयों, हमारा भारत भी उतनी ही तेजी के साथ मजबूत होता हुआ आगे बढ़ता चला जाएगा।
Minister of State for Consumer Affairs C.R. Chaudhary has expressed hope that the Consumer Protection Bill 2018 will be passed in the winter session of Parliament. Talking to AIR, Mr. Chaudhary said the legislation will be very helpful in the direction of protection of consumer rights. He said to promote, protect and enforce consumer rights, the bill has the provision to set up a regulatory body known as the Central Consumer Protection Authority. The authority can also pass orders to prevent unfair and restrictive trade practices such as selling goods not complying with standards. The minister said there is a provision for hefty penalty against those involved in misleading advertisements.
New Consumer Protection Bill has been put up in the Parliament on 5th of January 2018, and it's very important. There are a lot of new provision and salient features of this new bill. When it will be an act, it will be very forceful act, or it will be very useful, it will be very helpful in the protection of the consumer.
Science and Technology Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today said the Central Pollution Control Board CPCB will initiate criminal proceedings against any agency for its non-compliance of pollution directives. Talking to reporters in New Delhi, the minister said the decision will be based on the findings of the 41 field teams deputed by CPCB in 4 neighbouring towns of Delhi. The government has appointed Indian Revenue Service Officer Sanjay Kumar Mishra as Chief of the Enforcement Directorate ED. In an official order, the 1984 batch officer has been appointed as Principal Special Director in ED and has been given additional charge of the post of Director for a period of 3 months or till the appointment of a regular incumbent. Current ED Director Karnal Singh's term ended yesterday. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. You can also log on to our website newsonair.nic.in. In Sri Lanka, the political turmoil continues after President Maithripala Sirisena appointed former President Mahinda Rajapaksa as the new Prime Minister, replacing Ranil Wickremesinghe. Mr. Wickremesinghe has challenged his removal, saying the parliamentary majority is still with him and requested Parliament to be convened immediately. However, President Sirisena issued orders to prorogue Parliament till the 16th of next month. Mr. Wickremesinghe today addressed a press conference with leaders of smaller parties in coalition, indicating that it is still intact. More from our Colombo correspondent.
Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe has asserted that he still commands majority in Parliament, but President Sirisena has issued orders to prorogue Parliament session till mid of next month. This may give enough time for Rajapakses to engineer defections, but the coalition members' support for Ranil looked intact today. Mr. Rajapakse's side has the support of 100 MPs in 225-member Parliament. Tamil National Alliance, having 16 MPs, has said that they will decide based on which side supports a new constitution and address human rights issues. Another regional party having 6 MPs has maintained that it will remain neutral. Santosh Kumar for AIR News from Colombo.
In Afghanistan, polling is being held in Kandahar province today. Long queues of turbaned men could be seen outside polling centres in the southern province amidst heavy deployment of security forces. Parliamentary elections were held in 32 of the 34 provinces across the country last weekend, except Kandahar and Ghazni. Polling in Kandahar was postponed following a deadly attack by Taliban on a US-Afghan security meeting on the 18th of this month that killed its powerful police chief. Elections were delayed in Ghazni province due to disagreements on reducing constituencies and security problems. India has called upon the UN Security Council to proactively list terrorists and terror groups involved in sexual violence in armed conflicts. First Secretary in the Permanent Mission of India to the UN, Paulomi Tripathi, made the appeal at the UN Security Council debate on women, peace and security. She said the role and perspectives of women in peace processes remain largely neglected. She asserted that the Council must make all efforts to realize the full potential of integrating women, peace and security. In Punjab, the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana has brought a positive change in the lives of people in Punjab. The scheme offers loans up to 10 lakh rupees to non-corporate, non-farm, small micro-enterprises. The loans are given by commercial banks, regional rural banks, small finance banks, cooperative banks, microfinance institutions and non-banking finance companies. Here is a ground report from our correspondent on the success of the scheme in the state.
Mudra loans, started by the central government, is helping people from less privileged sections of the society towards self-employment and job creation across the country. Scheme has benefited a large number of people across the state of Punjab also. In Bathinda, 21 persons are given approximately 24 lakhs for buying e-rickshaws under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. One beneficiary, Sadanand of Bathinda, said,
मैं सदानंद बठिंडा का रहने वाला हूँ। मैंने सरकार की मुद्रा योजना से कुछ महीने पहले ई रिक्शा लिया था, जो कि एक बहुत बढ़िया रिक्शा है। इससे मेरे परिवार का गुजारा बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है। इसकी किस्त भी मैं टाइम से वापस कर रहा हूँ बैंक को।
प्रधानमंत्री मुद्रा योजना has not only created jobs for the weaker sections, but also helping in keeping our cities green by protecting our environment through these e-rickshaws. Gagandeep Kaur Devgan, AIR News, Jalandhar.
In cricket, the West Indies were 38 for 2 in 8.1 overs against India in the third one-day international of the 5-match series in Pune. When reports last came in, India's skipper Virat Kohli had won the toss and opted to bowl. With 2 games played, India are leading the series 1-0. Last evening, BCCI announced the squad for the forthcoming T20 series with the West Indies and Test series with Australia later this year. While former skipper Mahendra Singh Dhoni was dropped from both the series, Kohli was rested from the T20 tournament with the Windies. Kohli will return for the 4-match Test series against the Aussies. In men's hockey, India will take on Japan in the semi-finals of the Asian Champions Trophy at Muscat, Oman tonight. The match will begin at 10:40 p.m. Indian time. India will start as overwhelming favourites as they had blanked Japan 9-0 in the round-robin stage. India is the only side in the tournament that is unbeaten so far. In the other semi-final, Pakistan will lock horns with Malaysia 8:25 tonight. And now, before we close, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leaves for Tokyo to attend 13th India-Japan Annual Summit, says his visit will consolidate partnership for a better and more prosperous future. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat says India is strong enough to respond if Islamabad continues with its plans against New Delhi. IRS officer Sanjay Kumar Mishra appointed as Chief of Enforcement Directorate. Political turmoil continues in Sri Lanka following appointment of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa as new Prime Minister. In cricket, India win the toss, opt to bowl against West Indies in the third ODI at Pune. And Indian men's hockey team to take on Japan in the semi-finals of Asian Champions Trophy at Oman tonight. And for details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.nic.in. With that, we end the Midday News.